All right, we are online with Periscope. Hello, Periscope. And Facebook and YouTube. We are live. Hello, world. It's Jack Heald, the dad you wish you had. The subject of today's conversation is overcoming fear. We are in a time right now, I'm recording this on the 2nd of April, 2020. We're deep into the midst of the single biggest shock to the economic system of the world, probably since World War I, maybe the Great Depression, but it's easily been 90 years, probably 100 years since we've experienced a shock like this. The jobless numbers for the United States were absolutely terrifying today. 6 million additional new jobless claims in addition to the, 2.5 or 3 million last week. So we're close to 10 million initial jobless claims right now. A lot of people are very, very, very scared. So what do? Here's the problem with fear. Fear all by itself can become your biggest problem. Fear of the future. You might think what's going to happen is your problem, but it's not what is going to happen. It is the fear that you have about what is going to happen. Let me see if I can explain this to you. When you are contemplating bad events that could conceivably happen at some point in the future, and you're experiencing anxiety or stress about them, you're experiencing the anxiety and the stress in the present. But the trigger is what you think, what you speculate, what you imagine may or may not happen in the future. So you're experiencing the physiological results of stress in the present over events that have not yet occurred and in fact may not yet occur. It is in this way that fear becomes your worst enemy. Not losing your house, not losing your job, not being able to make your mortgage payments, not having to live in a car, not having to live in your van down by the river. None of those things are a bigger problem, even though they seem like they are, than the stress you are putting your body under right now by fear. So how do you overcome fear? Well, the first thing you've got to do is identify that your problem is the fear. Your problem is not necessarily what you think might happen in the future. So the first thing you've got to do is recognize fear is taking a toll on your body right now. The way it's doing that is your adrenaline system is dumping cortisol into your bloodstream. It is elevating your heart rate. It is shunting blood away from your extremities and away from your digestion and to your heart and lungs, where it is heart, lung, and brains where it is most needed. This is a great evolutionarily adapted response to imminent physical danger. It allows your muscles, nerves, and brain to react optimally in a stressful situation. Get away from that saber-toothed tiger. But in modern times, that kind of response doesn't do you any good because there's no tiger to run away from. You are simply stewing in your own juices, literally stewing in your own adrenal juices. And that's why it's bad for you. And I'm not going to go into the rest of the chemistry and the physiology, but you can feel it in your body. So you know this isn't good. So since the problem is occurring in your body because of what you're thinking right now, overcoming fear happens in your body and in your mind. It's a two-pronged approach. You may think it's all emotional. The emotion is a result of the body and the mind kind of stuff. So deal with it physically. Sitting, laying, curling up in a ball is not going to help at all. Why is it not going to help? It's because you have this flood of cortisol and adrenaline in your system. Your body, under those circumstances, is designed or evolved, however you want to look at it, to move, to engage in intense physical activity. Not engaging in intense physical activity actually increases the problem. You're not giving your body the feedback that it needs to say, okay, we've kind of escaped from the problem. You've got to do something physically intense. Lift weights, run wind sprints, go on an intense hike, do 1,000 jumping jacks, something. Intense physical activity in order to make use of the adrenaline that is in your system. This is essential. And probably if you do a jump rope, there's another good one. Probably if you do that, you're going to fix most of the anxiety that you're experiencing in the present moment. Is this going to get your mortgage paid? No, it's not. But getting your mortgage paid is a different issue than the fear you have about what might happen if you don't pay your mortgage. All right, so you're having an intense adrenal cortisol response in your body that demands, not suggests, but demands intense bursts of physical activity. Maybe you've got heavy things that need to be picked up and moved. Go pick up and move heavy things. Intense physical activity is what your neurochemistry and your endocrine system are demanding right now. So do it. Do something productive, or at least not destructive to yourself. Use those neurochemicals and endocrine chemicals that are flooding your system. Make use of them. Now, this is going to do a bunch of things. It's going to tire you out physically, but it's also going to relieve the effects internally of having all this adrenaline and cortisol flooding around in your system. And it's going to enable you to be able to relax a little bit, maybe even to lay down and sleep. And sleep is the second thing that's going to help. Good sleep will help to restore you physically, mentally, and emotionally. You know this. Why are you having trouble sleeping? Well, the chances are very good because you're not dealing with the adrenaline and cortisol in your own body because of the fear that's going around and around in your head that's triggering a physiological response. All right? So we're not going to deal with the mental thing yet. We're going to deal with the physical thing because the physical thing happens faster and you have less internal control over what's going on physically because of the chemistry. Deal with the physical first. All right. Now that you've done that, we're going to deal with the mental first. We're going to deal with the mental side of it next. Recognize mentally, acknowledge that fear is making you a little bit crazy, and it's causing you to make suboptimal decisions about the future. For example, there may in fact be many things you can do, actions you can take in order to stave off the disaster that you are imagining. But fear, especially this flood of adrenaline and cortisol in your system, narrows your mental vision so you cannot see other options. So that's why we deal with the physical side first. Deal with the physical side, and that opens up the mental options. Then you'll begin to be able to brainstorm and think about, okay, what can I do? One of the things that is happening right now is that many people are feeling completely powerless, and that powerlessness just gets into this cycle of fear, doubt, uncertainty, anxiety, dread, and it just feeds on itself. It's a downward spiral that doesn't do you or anyone else any good. When you are thinking more clearly, then you can look at, what can I do? What can I do? So if the worst is that you might lose your house and end up living on the street, well, what can I do? Make specific, rational, make yourself some very small steps. Well, I have a car. At least I'm not going to be sleeping out in the cold. Well, I might lose my car. Well, I can have a blanket. I can have a tent. Do these things make you feel good? No, they don't. But the mere act of thinking through specific steps you can take to mitigate the problem, mitigate the effects of the problem, will give you the positive emotional feedback that you need to feel like you are more in control of your own destiny than you're feeling right now when adrenaline and cortisol are surging through your body. All right? So first, physically, deal with the chemistry. Secondly, once you've dealt with the chemistry, then start making notes, lists, steps, whatever the tiniest little thing you can do to take some sort of control over your circumstances so you are not at the mercy of outside forces and completely powerless and victimized. If you'll do those two things, you will find the effects of fear greatly minimized in your life. I look forward to hearing questions and comments. We'll talk to you tomorrow.